Okay, very good. Uh, I'm always happy to talk to any Scientologist anytime, anywhere. L. Ron Hubbard himself said, communication is the universal solvent. And I don't believe I'm this crazed, wild person that they depict me as. Um, I am curious to see the video that they want to show. I'd suggest they put it on the internet, as I have done with all of my video that I've shot since 1999, covering the world of Scientology. And I'm not attacking Scientologists in these videos or in person. What I talk about are some of the structures and controls built into organized Scientology that primarily target Scientologists themselves, like the practice of disconnection, where families are split apart, um, or the Rehabilitation Project Force, where Sea Org members who sign a billion-year contract to work lifetime after lifetime for Scientology for 16 hours a day, 5 or 6 or 7 days a week, for about $50 a week. And then if they want to leave, uh, they sometimes get socked with a freeloader's debt, where they have to pay back tens of thousands of dollars for the room and board they got living in cramped quarters at the Hacienda Gardens complex, which I'm very happy that Chief Slaughter was able to go in and do an inspection. Now, Scientology may consider that harassment. That I was worried about the Sea Org members in the midst of this COVID 19, after having seen busloads of them tightly packed into a flag bus coming out over to the Superpower building. This is a real health threat. And when you've got 10 or more people living in one apartment in cramped quarters, this is a serious health threat to them and the community as a whole. So I just asked for some sort of check to make sure that their living conditions are safe for them. And I don't consider that harassment. What I'm trying to do uh, in office
You
is
had your time.
actually to, oh, I didn't know we were had a limit. Okay,
No, I'm not.
sorry.
What I would like to stick to, though, Mr. Bunker, is talking about the actual DDB and your
Right.
service on that
I
particular
was,
board, why you think
okay,
you're qualified, and why we think we can still be productive if you are on that board.
sure. Well,
If we
I'd
want
like
to
to open up
litigate
some
the other stuff
communication lines.
later, that's fine.
Okay. Um, I would like to start a communication. Um, and Scientology is a huge aspect of why the downtown has not been able to develop since they came to town in 1975. It's important, like the very first time I came to the meeting, if you want to watch that video of the Downtown Development Board, I asked a very simple question. You have a majority now of Scientologists on the board. If Scientology is the problem, are Scientologists the answer? And I think the answer should be yes. They should be trying to work to make make a better situation for everyone downtown so they feel comfortable coming downtown. Right now, we've got a situation where almost all the remaining property of downtown was purchased with cash, $113 million worth of property that hasn't been developed largely.
You know how to
And
turn the lights on in
we
here?
have no idea what's going to happen with those properties. If we're going to spend $64 million on Imagine Clearwater, we have to have some answers. And I'm not being confrontational about this. I think, and I think that people of Clearwater agree with me, that we need to have a different, more logical approach and not be afraid to say the word Scientology. I'm not taking Scientology away from anyone. I'm not taking L. Ron Hubbard away. All I'm saying is there are serious issues that we need to address. And just opening up a line of communication on the board, I think will be helpful. Mr. Casano and Mr. Imrani and other Scientologists will come before the board, before the council here to have projects approved. And I guarantee you, I will give them a fair hearing and have no problem approving a project if it makes sense. So I don't think I will have problems working with Scientology. And for them to fearmonger, and as Mr. Morphopoulos said at the second board hearing I spoke at, he had a prepared, written, multi-page statement comparing me to Hitler. So this is the type of over-the-top rhetoric that comes from Scientology, and it's not necessary, and it's not constructive. That's not what I'm doing. I haven't gone out and been shouting and cursing I've been back here in town since 2013. There haven't been any pickets. And I'm not leading the people of Clearwater to the Fort Harrison with pitchforks and torches. I'm doing what the people of Clearwater are interested in doing, finding out what the heck is going on and try to do something about it. That's why I was elected. The Scientologists tried to run somebody against me to stop me from being elected, but the people of Clearwater spoke. And again, I'm not attacking anyone. I want to be constructive.
Thank you, Councilmember Bunker. Other council members?
I guess I can jump in here.
Councilmember Hamilton.
Are you hearing me all right?
Yes.
Okay. This issue has put the council in a position, the way I view it, we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. Either way we go, we're going to get vilified one way or the other. That doesn't really bother me necessarily. But I think where we have some issues is, and I don't want to get, what is that?
I think the
Anybody else hearing
library is
that
burning
beep?
down, but go ahead.
Okay. I mean, not to nitpick to a degree, but Mr. Morphopoulos made the point that Mr. Bunker violated the injunction when he came to speak, stood at the podium and speak. Well, if we weren't dealing with a pandemic right now, we'd be sitting on the dais, and if Mr. Morphopoulos comes to the dais, he would be violating that same injunction. So I'm throwing that out. That doesn't matter. There hasn't been any, to my knowledge, speaking with our police chief and other people, there has not been any major disruption attached to this injunction for many, many years. Now, that being said, Councilmember Bunker just made the comment, that's what the people elected me for. I think Councilmember Bunker, and I'm not being critical, but you have to remember that you won an election with 27% of the vote. That means 73% of the people did not vote for you. So you don't have a mandate to move forward with personal agendas by any stretch of the imagination. Now, to the DDB in particular, we're talking about ex officio positions where we do not vote. The city council members do not have a vote. You
just close it
are
down.
there to listen more than anything else, and if asked to give your position or to speak, then you do. So like I said, now back to the damned if we do, damned if we don't. I am willing, and this is not going to make some people happy, I am willing to give Mr. Bunker the opportunity to sit on this board, and I would like to do the motion I will be making after everybody's had their chance to speak is for Mayor Hibbard and Mr. Bunker to be the two people on that board. And I know the mayor would be very effective. The mayor has the ability to control a lot of things, and I respect him greatly for that. But the caveat is, if we give Council Member Bunker, if we vote him onto this board, if he gets on this board and is there strictly as a disruption and creating confusion, I will not hesitate at the next city council meeting after that happens to make a motion to replace him on that board. So I'm willing to give him the chance. And I think it's time, as we all say, it's time for everybody to come together, because we all want a good, vibrant downtown Clearwater. And we should all be pulling in the same direction. And I want to give Councilmember Bunker and my friends that are Scientologists on that DDB and people that I know, give everybody the chance to show that they are committed and believe that everybody has the ability to work together. So I'll stop at that.
Thank you, Councilmember Hamilton. Councilmember Albritton?
Yeah, I'd like to give just my perspective from being on the DDB, being a board member on the DDB for over 10 years. I was chairman for 8 years, and then I came back when I was elected to council to be an ex officio member. And the job as an ex officio is different than being a member of the board. I mean, we're there to just advise and to kind of any questions by the board to the city, we're there to help with that. But my perspective of the long time I was on the board, we've always had ex officios and board members that were very passionate about downtown and had given a lot of their time and effort to really come together and to try to promote downtown. You know, this is a DDB is, a lot of people don't know this, it's an elected board. The DDB area, all the property owners in the area pay an extra tax that goes back to promoting the downtown, and the elected people are the ones that are on the board that spend that money the best they can to promote and to build a successful, vibrant downtown. And usually everybody has all their heart in it, whether they're Scientologists or anybody else. They're there because they have a passion for it, and they really have a vision that they can really make our downtown, which is certainly has a lot of very exciting parts of it. You know, make that come into fruition and make it a very successful downtown. So I know Mr. Bunkers would like to come in and share some of his concerns. He was elected as a council member. I would almost say to him that he probably, if he has concerns, he would be probably better fitted for bringing those concerns as a councilman in the audience. He could always come to a DDB meeting, but to the ex officio, I think, would really needs to have a vision of a vibrant downtown and really needs to work and to get everybody together to work with that mission. With that said, I am fine. If Hoyt wants to make a motion, I will step down. I have served probably now about 14 years on DDB, and I'm still very passionate about downtown. But if the mayor I know is also passionate, and you know, I would certainly step down to give Mr. Bunker the, you know, with Mayor Hibbard to be the two ex officio members. And I kind of agree with what Mr. Hamilton said, that, you know, if it does seem to be that Mr. Bunker is not pulling people together and moving things forward, the agenda being promoting downtown, and you know, I would certainly think that he he should be replaced at that time. But I'll listen to what everybody else says and go with, go from there.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Beckman.
Well, it's a complex issue. I think I have a little bit of a unique perspective on it as a newly elected official and one who did go out door to door for months and months and talk to residents about what their concerns were. And a majority of them are concerned about downtown, and usually in the same breath they utter the word Scientology. And so it is an issue. Uh, I don't know that I'm not going to comment on whether or not it's Mr. Bunker's personal issue or using absolutes as his only issue. I don't believe that. But I do think we need to look at the fact that he was elected. It was a large part of his platform. And I think people want to see what he can do to improve downtown and to improve our relationship with the primary landowner in downtown. So I think he should be given the opportunity to do that. I have faith that he'll operate collaboratively and within legal parameters. And I think that it might really be best if he's there and can speak to those constituents who voted for him uh, based on that large part of his platform, and he can report back fully what are our legal parameters that we are operating in order to revitalize downtown. And I I do concur with Mr. Hamilton that it probably is wise to give Mr. Bunker a chance. I don't think we have any reason to doubt that he's going to conduct himself appropriately. I do realize that there will be tensions because of past behaviors on either side. I'm not going to make judgments about all that. I wasn't here for that. Um, and I respect the heartfelt sentiments of our residents who are Scientologists and spoke. But I would say let's give Mr. Bunker a chance. He will operate within the parameters of his function on that board if he is appointed to that board. And I think who better to report out the truth of how that board is operating and how they're working to revitalize downtown than him. There wouldn't be any suspicions to residents who have suspicions if, quote, their guy is down there reporting back, I guess. It's kind of my thoughts on that.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Beckman. Ms. Aiken, a couple questions. So officially, within our rules, there really weren't ex officio members on the DDB.
Yes, sir, that's correct. Our ordinance does not require ex officio or mention ex officio members. Ms. Call did some research into the minutes, and in 1987, council began having ex officio members, and at the same time, they had, I believe, 2 DDB members who were also to be ex officio to CRA. That practice fell off a long time ago, but we have still continued to appoint ex officio members to the DDB, but they are not required by ordinance.
So that's just been practice. It's not by ordinance.
Yes, sir. That is a
Okay.
practice.
Councilmember Hamilton was completely right. Nobody is going to be happy tonight. Any of the decisions that we make, we're going to have someone unhappy individually on the council, but also the fact that he was elected just 1 month ago. Councilmember Albritton City's been on the DDB for 14 years. Most of that time was as a member of the DDB, not as an ex officio. Just so those out there in TV land understand, he's only been a council member for 2 years. I had also asked to be on the DDB. I have reservations, frankly, on both sides. I want all of our boards within the city to function. If they don't function, we need to find out why and fix it. At the same time, I am somewhat reluctant to not give a brand new council member the benefit of the doubt. We have to work on so many issues. Some people say we're scared of talking about Scientology. I can tell you I am not scared about talking about Scientology. I went around and talked to a lot of citizens and also did a very long questionnaire. Some people were dismayed with that questionnaire, but I did get a lot of feedback. I do not believe that we ought to try to not talk about what some people call the elephant in the room. Scientology is here in this community. I think we need to have a better relationship than we have in the past. It does not behoove us as a city to not have cooperation and to have an open dialogue, because I want the entire city to prosper. That means everybody has to come to the table and make contributions. It cannot be a one-sided relationship. So I am going to support Councilmember Bunker being on the DDB with the understanding that he is going to understand our role as ex officios, which are really liaisons between the DDB and the city and giving perspective. But I also plan to be sitting next to him with the vote of the rest of the council. So with that, are there any other comments or questions? I would entertain a motion on that.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we appoint yourself and Mr. Bunker as ex officio members to the DDB. And with all the other comments that have been made, those will be applied when and if necessary.
Second.
Do I have a second? I have a second from Councilmember Albritton. Any other comments or questions? Hearing
If I
none,
may,
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. It passes unanimously.